The journey of the millionaire and the black cleaner. Maya crouched against the cold brick wall, a discarded newspaper wrapped around her thin frame. She watched the rich bustle past, their laughter ringing like fire alarms in her ears. A world of silk suits and designer bags, oblivious to her freezing hunger. Only the gnawing in her stomach reminded her of her existence. It was London, a city of dreams, but today her dreams felt like they were made of glass, ready to shatter. In the heart of this chaos, a striking figure emerged. Amika, an oil magnate clad in a tailored suit, exuding confidence that could light up the night. She moved like a shadow through the crowd, her eyes screening the world as if nothing could touch her. Maya's heart skipped a beat. This was a woman who wielded power like a chess player, each step calculated. Yet she turned almost instinctively, her gaze locking onto Maya for a heartbeat longer than a blink. It was a moment that ignited a spark of possibility. "Excuse me." Maya's voice trembled with urgency, the words tumbling out before she could catch them. "Could you spare something? Just a penny?" Amika paused, her gaze narrowing. Then she stepped closer, the faint scent of opulence surrounding her. There it was, the same birthmark, a crescent moon on Maya's shoulder, something she never understood, something no one had acknowledged. Amika's eyes widened. Fear flickered across her face, chasing away that practiced composure. "Where did you get that mark?" Her voice dropped to a hush that held the weight of 1,000 secrets. The laughter from the passers-by faded away, replaced by the heavy silence of too many eyes observing this sudden frenzy. Maya's breath quickened. I don't know, my mother." "Your mother?" Amika interrupted, her own voice hitching, the tiniest crack forming in her facade, a sound that screamed of desperate remembrance. "Aduni." Maya staggered, gripping the wall for support. The world spun. "You knew her? Why did she leave me?" Determined to unveil the truth, Amika took a step forward. But as the words lingered between them, a sudden roar erupted from the crowd. A scuffle, desperate shouts echoed. The scene turned chaotic as people surged forward, drawn by the commotion, and Maya felt a tightness in her chest. It didn't take long for the whispers of conspiracy to sway her thoughts. What did Amika know? What did her birthmark hold? And why had fate tossed her like dice into the depths of a game with such high stakes? Aduni's death was a scar on the Housekeeper family, one steeped in shadow. Each piece of the puzzle clicked into place like cruel clockwork, weaving a tale of murder and betrayal. Maya's heart pounded as uncertainty washed over her. Should she chase answers, the wealth that flared in the distance, the legacy she had never wanted? She caught a glimpse of Amika's conflicted expression, a tempest of guilt and fury swirling behind bright eyes. Before she could gather her thoughts, a new figure appeared, a silhouette cloaked in mystery. The atmosphere thickened with secrets yet unknown, and Maya stood frozen at a crossroads between vengeance and light. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important alert. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Just quickly check the red button down below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming your way. And since you're here, drop that powerful like, that helps me so much with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love meeting every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact." Maya stood frozen, her heart thumping wildly, eyes darting between Amika and the crowd as chaos unfolded. All that mattered was the birthmark, the strange connection between them, the mystery of Aduni. But before either could speak, the new figure emerged, a man clad in a long coat, his face obscured by the shadow of a wide-brimmed hat. He moved like smoke through the people, carving a path toward Amika. "Maya." Amika snapped, shaking herself from the moment. "You need to go." But it was too late. The man pointed at Maya, his voice slicing through the noise. "You're here, you're finally here, the past has caught up." Maya's eyes widened. Who was he? What had she walked into? The crowd seemed to hold its breath, tension crackling like static. "Stay back," Amika barked, her tone sharper than ever. But there was something vulnerable in her stance, something that made Maya's chest tighten with fear and trepidation. The man took off his hat. His face was surprisingly familiar, though twisted in bitterness. "You don't recognize me, do you? I'm the one who found you." Maya staggered back, her vision blurring. "What? Who are you?" "I'm Samuel," he said, voice dripping with disdain, "your father's brother." Gasps filled the air, echoing off the buildings. Every eye turned toward her, some judgmental, others curious. Amika's expression morphed from panic to anger. "Don't listen to him, Maya." But Samuel laughed, cold and haunting. "Oh, she has every right to know. Aduni and her choices led her to a dead end. And you, Maya, you're the key to it all." Maya felt the ground shift beneath her, her father. Did he even know about her existence? A raw ache began to simmer inside her, mixing with rage and confusion. "You're lying." "No." Samuel leaned closer, his breath sour. "Your mother was the one who betrayed us all. The mark on your shoulder was a curse passed down, a reminder of the family she tried to escape. We can't let her legacy destroy everything." Maya took a step back, heart racing. Betrayal? Her world spun, flipped upside down. "What do you mean?" Amika stepped forward, fists clenched. "Away from her, Samuel. You don't have to do this." "Do what? Reveal the truth." He turned back to Maya, eyes dark and intense. "Your mother didn't just leave you, she ran. There's blood on her hands, our blood." The words pierced through Maya, each one a shard of broken glass stabbing deeper. Emotions churned violently, anger mixed with shock. "Blood," she whispered. "What blood? What did you do?" The crowd shifted uneasily. Shouts of disbelief filled the air. Each face reflected a growing tension, a deepening horror that gripped everyone. Suddenly, as if summoned by the emotions twisting skyward, a siren blared, slicing through the moment. Lights flashed ahead, a police van barreling toward the scene. Amika's expression darkened, and she grabbed Maya's arm, urgency flooding her voice. "We have to go now." Maya stared at her, torn between the revelations and the chaos forming around them. But even as Amika pulled her forward, Samuel's voice boomed behind them. "Run all you want. Truth is a hell of a predator. And it will find you." Maya stumbled, pulled between the weight of her past and the urgency of the present. The police sirens echoed in time with the thumps of her heart. "Wait, what truth?" she cried, desperation clawing up her throat. But it was too late. Each step they took pulled her further away from the answers, and deeper into the shadows of a future she never wanted. Would it come crashing down around her? What was left to uncover? The weight of everything pressed on her chest, a ticking clock ready to explode. And somewhere, lurking beyond the chaos, the truth, her truth, waited to be unleashed. Maya stumbled, Amika pulling her along, but the grip on her arm felt like a lifeline and a chain. They weaved through the throng, each heartbeat echoing louder in her ears. The crowd branched out, chaos thickening like fog, but not from the sirens. No, something darker stirred. "Maya, think," Amika urged, urgency lacing her words. "We need to get out of here." But Maya was caught, swept up in the panic rising inside her. The truth hung heavy in the air, a jagged blade poised to cut. "Who is he? What did he mean?" Amika shot a glance over her shoulder. "It doesn't matter. Trust me, we can sort this out later." Just then, the air split with a deafening crash. A van smashed against the pavement, its rear doors flung open. Police officers flooded out, shouting commands that punctured the noise like gunshots. Maya's heart raced. "Amika, what if he's right? What if?" But Amika shook her head fiercely. "No, don't let him get into your head." They turned to bolt down an alley, but a shadow flashed before them. It was Samuel, stepping through the haze, a smirk slicing across his face. "Running won't solve a thing. You can't escape what you are." "Shut up." Amika shouted, clenching her fists. Maya's breath quickened. The raw energy of the moment felt electric, sparking something in her. "What did you mean about my mother? Why would she do this?" Samuel laughed, a cruel sound that bounced back off the walls, collapsing in on her. "You really don't know, do you? It's not your mother's past that's the problem, Maya. It's yours." Before she could grasp the full weight of his words, the ground erupted beneath her. A powerful blast rocked the alley, flames licking up the walls, flames that erupted from the police van. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd, faces frozen in horror. Maya stood in stunned silence, her mind racing. "What's happening?" The heat pushed her backward, but Amika held firm, eyes wide with disbelief. "We have to go." She pulled Maya toward a narrow passageway just as chaos ignited around them. But just as they turned to escape, the figure from the shadows stepped forward. It was cloaked in darkness, not Samuel, but someone else. A familiar silhouette. "Maya," it called, voice smooth yet haunting. "You don't know the truth." Maya's blood ran ice cold. "Who are you?" The figure stepped into the flickering lights, eyes glinting with an unsettling familiarity. "I'm you, or I was you. I'm the reason Aduni left." Time froze. "What?" Maya choked out, confusion contorting her face. "Your mother's choices, your legacy. It was all meant to protect you from me. The curse is not her burden to bear. It's yours to confront." An explosion of thoughts erupted in Maya's mind. Aduni had left her to keep her safe. From her own past, panic surged as she wrestled with the new revelation. Amika cried out, trying to pull Maya again. "We have to run. This place isn't safe." But the figure remained, voice carrying an eerie calm. "The truth will consume you, Maya. Blood bonds can never be severed. You're not just her daughter, you're part of something far darker." Maya felt the ground buckling beneath her. The weight of history pressed in, threatening to crush her. Everything she believed was a lie. Betrayal knotted her stomach as the world around her spiraled, fear coiling tight in her chest. Who are you?" she whispered, voice cracking with desperation and dread. The figure leaned closer, the shadows swallowing them both. "I'm your twin sister, and the legacy we're tied to is a storm waiting to break. It's just beginning." A cold wave of realization washed over Maya, a sister, a part of a truth she never knew. The world around her erupted into a frenzy of noise and confusion, but all she could hear was the pounding of her heart and the echoes of a dark legacy barreling toward her. The explosion of revelations shattered her footing, sending her spine tingling with fear and adrenaline. This was no longer just about her past. It was about everything changing in an instant, and now she had to choose. But would she be able to confront the storm within? The weight hung thick in the air, and together they stood on the brink of chaos, trembling before the unknown. Maya stood, paralyzed, her heart thrumming like wild drums against her ribcage. The revelation about her sister twisted deep inside her, wrapping her head in a fog of disbelief. "My twin," she gasped, words barely forming, fear creeping along her spine. "The truth hurts," the figure said, voice haunting like a whisper on the wind. "But it's worse than you know. You think you're here to confront your past. You're not here for that, you're here to save it." Her mind raced. Save it? From what? Before she could ask, gunshots broke through the chaos. The crowd shrieked, faces morphing from shock to panic. Maya flinched, the noise crackling the air like shattered glass. Amika yanked her away, eyes wide and frantic. "We can't stay here." But the figure, a mirror image of Maya's own features, stayed rooted, seeming unfazed by the chaos. "Maya, listen. You need to remember." Remember what? The ground trembled beneath her feet. She was stumbling through the wreckage of her life. "What do you mean I'm here to save it? We're connected, you and I," her sister said firmly, desperation threading through her voice. "The mark, Maya, it connects us to a legacy you can't escape. It binds us to our mother's choices, and those choices are not finished. They're waking up." Amika was practically dragging her now, pulling her into a narrower alley as more chaos erupted behind them. "Let's move." She glanced back, fear etched across her face, worry gnawing at Maya's insides. And then in the corner of her eye she saw him again, Samuel. He had split off from the crowd, his face a mask of fury, weaving between terrified bodies. "You have to face it, Maya," he called, voice cutting through the noise. "The curse isn't yours alone, it binds all of us. The bloodline plays games beyond your understanding." Maya's stomach dropped. "What games?" Just then the shadows shifted. A loud roar filled the air, a deep, rumbling sound that shook the ground beneath her. A massive black SUV barreled into the scene, smashing through the crowd, its tires screeching across the pavement. People scattered, screams tearing through the space where laughter had thrived moments before. "Maya!" Amika screamed, pulling her clothes, but it was too late. The SUV crashed into Samuel, sending him sprawling, his body flipping like a rag doll. "Samuel!" Maya cried out, terror swelling inside her chest. She tried to break free from Amika's grip to rush to him, but Amika held on tightly, eyes darting, searching for an escape. "Focus, we need to get out before they realize what's happened." Amika shouted, panic suffocating her tone. "What just happened?" Maya's voice trembled, the reality of the moment crashing over her. The panic in the air mingled with the smell of burning rubber, a heat rising that told her danger was close. Then suddenly, through the smoke filling the scene, another figure emerged, frantic and wild-eyed, green jacket flapping as they sprinted toward Maya. It was a young man she recognized, his presence sending an electric shock through her. A childhood friend, one who had known her mother. Breath-catching, she whispered, "Devon." But he was already skirting past Amika, eyes locked on Maya with urgency. "You need to understand everything. The past, it falls apart if you don't run. The past." Amika's voice rose in disbelief. "What are you talking about?" But Devon was too frantic. "They're watching, you can't trust anyone." In that moment, the air shifted again, heavy with something dark and foreboding. The heat from the SUV crash ignited the chaos around them, but it wasn't the only blaze. Another fire flickered in the depths of Maya's memory, memories that resurfaced with raw force, breaking through years of silence. The whispers of her mother's tales slithered back, stories buried in the shadows now clawing their way into the light. Everything she believed, everything she thought she knew, wavered on the edge of a knife. Who could she trust? Was Amika a friend, or were they all just pawns in a game she didn't even know existed? Then it hit her, enormous and undeniable. If my mother left to protect me, then what was she protecting me from? Maya's heart raced as fear and urgency fused. The world felt like it was crumbling, and just beyond the chaos, the truth rumbled like thunder, waiting to consume her whole. Maya stood paralyzed, her heart thrumming like wild drums against her ribcage. The revelation about her sister twisted deep inside her, wrapping her head in a fog of disbelief. My twin. She gasped, words barely forming, fear creeping along her spine. The truth hurts, the figure said, voice haunting like a whisper on the wind. But it's worse than you know. You think you're here to confront your past. You're not here for that, you're here to save it. Her mind raced, save it. From what, before she could ask, gunshots broke through the chaos. The crowd shrieked, faces morphing from shock to panic. Maya flinched, the noise cracking the air like shattered glass. Amika yanked her away, eyes wide and frantic. We can't stay here, but the figure, a mirror image of Maya's own features, stayed rooted, seeming unfazed by the chaos. Maya, listen, you need to remember. Remember what? The ground trembled beneath her feet. She was stumbling through the wreckage of her life. What do you mean I'm here to save it? We're connected, you and I, her sister said firmly, desperation threading through her voice. The mark, Maya, it connects us to a legacy you can't escape. It binds us to our mother's choices, and those choices are not finished. They're waking up. Amika was practically dragging her now, pulling her into a narrower alley as more chaos erupted behind them. Let's move. She glanced back, fear etched across her face, worry gnawing at Maya's insides. And then in the corner of her eye she saw him again, Samuel. He had split off from the crowd, his face a mask of fury, weaving between terrified bodies. You have to face it, Maya, he called, voice cutting through the noise. The curse isn't yours alone, it binds all of us. The bloodline plays games beyond your understanding. Maya's stomach dropped. What games? Just then everything exploded. The shadows around them twisted and churned. A deep rumble filled the air, a sound like thunder rolling closer. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the smoke, moving so fast it was like a flash of lightning. A woman, eyes blazing with fury, hair wild and unkempt, burst into view. She was drenched in shadows and flames, as if she had risen from the ashes of the chaos surrounding them. Maya. She shouted, wielding something glinting in her hand, an object that shimmered in ways Maya couldn't comprehend. It was a pendant, radiant and ancient, something that felt tied to her very existence. Mama. Maya's breath caught in her throat, disbelief flooding her. The woman was supposed to be gone, lost to the currents of time and secrets. Everything swirled, crashing together like waves on the shore. This couldn't be real. But as the woman approached, a sharp laugh cut through the air, darker than any laughter she had ever heard. You think she's here to save you? Pathetic. It was Samuel spinning a tale of horror while the world around them ignited in chaos. She's just another pawn in this twisted game. Maya felt a weight crush her chest. You're lying. Yet everything inside her churned, doubt constricting her throat. Was this really her mother? But the woman stepped closer, defiance etched on her face, resolution shimmering behind her fierce gaze. I never meant to abandon you, sweet Maya. I had to protect you, and your sister. How do you know her? Amika demanded, protective instincts flaring, eyes narrowing. Because I'm the key, the woman choked out, a silent scream trapped behind her voice, anguish spilling forth. The mark isn't just a curse, it's a part of something larger, something that intertwines our destinies. More gunfire erupted, echoing ominously through the alley. Shadows danced along the walls, heightened by flickering flames as the crowd grew restless and fearful. Enough! Samuel shouted, his face twisted in fury, mask slipping. You'll twist her mind with lies. What if I'm the truth? The woman yelled back, desperation lacing her words. What if the legacy isn't a curse at all? What if it's a choice? A heavy silence fell, the air thick with tension. All eyes zeroed in. Everyone hovered at the edge of something dark, something tangible. Maya felt the world tilt beneath her. Her mother, her sister, Samuel's betrayal, they were all tangled in an intricate web of fate. And now, with her mother standing there, everything she thought she knew shattered into millions of pieces. As the shadows closed in, her heart hammered wildly. Who was she really? The truth, like smoke, hovered just beyond her reach. Everything was about to unravel, and Maya stood at the center, a spark in a storm, ready for the storm to break. Maya felt the weight of the moment, the world around her spiraling into chaos. Her mother stood there, fierce yet fragile, the fire between them licking at the edges of truth. You were never meant to be alone, the woman said, voice cracking under the strain of long-held secrets. I had to leave to protect you and your sister. The words hung in the air, thick with disbelief. A twin, a legacy. The crowd trembled with suppressed breaths, waiting for something to break. Everything was on the verge of unfolding, and yet a foundational tremor coursed through her. Samuel laughed, his voice biting. Protect you? No, Aduni, you cursed her. Maya flinched. The name felt like ice, slicing through the smoke wrapping around her. What did you do? she shouted, eyes darting between Samuel and her mother. But before anyone could answer, another roar erupted from the chaos, a crack louder than before. A massive explosion surged to life like a beast freed from its cage. Fire enveloped the alley, the flames dancing like manic spirits seizing the air. Maya stumbled back, eyes wide, as debris rained down around them. The world turned orange and red, swallowing the shadows, all consumed. Run, run. Amika cried, yanking Maya forward as the explosion echoed again, a relentless heartbeat crashing against the night. But Maya's feet felt heavy. Aduni was here. This moment felt like betrayal wrapped in love. How could she run from that? Get out, her mother shouted, arms outstretched as if to shield them. Go, no. I won't leave you. Maya screamed, the words clawing at her throat, panic swelling in an ocean of fear. But the flames pressed closer and she could feel heat licking her skin. Every instinct screamed to flee, yet her heart refused to budge. Maya, we have to go. Amika's eyes were frantic, bright as the fire behind them. The shadows shifted again, but this time the figure didn't emerge from the smoke. Instead, it was something altogether more sinister. A shot rang out, slicing through the noise like a dagger. It shattered the fragile moment, echoing like a death knell. Maya, Amika cried again, pulling her along, but suddenly time felt slow. The world shifted, and she caught a glimpse of someone emerging through the cloud. It was Devon. Maya, please, he charged into the fray, arms raised, urgency etched on his face. You need to listen. But before he could finish, a second shot cracked the air. A projectile fired from somewhere above, hitting Devon square in the chest. He crumpled to the ground, eyes widening in shock, lips parting as if to speak, only silence came. Maya's heart plummeted, her breath hitching. No, she gasped, the world collapsing around her as she staggered forward. Devon. Amika was dragging her back, shouting about safety, but all Maya could see was him, falling, the life dimming from his eyes. She felt like her heart was being ripped out, the reality of loss hitting her like a freight train. Oh God, no. She sobbed, trying to break free, but the chaos won. Screams erupted from everywhere, shouts of panic swelling above the flames, faces morphing into masks of horror. Focus, Maya, we need to move. Amika's voice was laced with fear, but the sound felt distant, muffled by the rush of adrenaline and dread. But just as they turned to escape, another figure emerged. It was Samuel again, somehow unscathed despite the wreckage unfolding. He glared at the scene, voice deep and thunderous. This is just the beginning. You don't understand. This was always meant to happen. Maya felt the ground beneath her shift again, her entire world tilting. What are you talking about? And then, through the chaos, a sudden clarity broke in her. In that moment, Maya turned to her mother, who was still holding her ground, a fierce light behind her eyes. You're lying, you're all lying. The truth will destroy everything, or save it. Aduni shouted back, stepping closer, defiance igniting every word. The fire isn't just a threat, it's a reckoning. It ties us together. But then, a flash of movement caught Maya's eye. Another shot rang out, another crack of sound. Before she could register it, a third figure fell, blood spilling onto the street, painting the chaos crimson. Only it wasn't Devon. This time it was Aduni. Maya's heart shattered in that instant. No, Mom! Aduni's eyes locked onto Maya, a raw understanding passing between them. In her last breath, she whispered, You will finish this, promise me. The world spun on its axis, twisting everything into confusion. The past, the curses, the legacy. They all spiraled into shadows, closing in fast. The truth unraveled before her eyes, but the only thing that remained was a sense of profound loss that reached deeper than any bonds of blood. Would the past claim her, or would she rise from the ashes of everything she thought she knew? The flickering flames danced, the echoes of gunfire faded, and in that moment of despair a question loomed larger than all. Who was she really? With everything slipping through her fingers, all that remained was uncertainty and the fire of fate just waiting to ignite. Maya felt the ground beneath her tremble, the flames licking higher, shadows stretching dangerously close. Her mother's lifeless body lay just out of reach, and panic surged like a tidal wave. The reality twisted around her, intertwining truth and deception, grief and anger clawing at her heart. Maya, we have to go. Amika's voice sliced through the haze, urgency clutching at her words like a vice. Now, we can't stay here. But Maya was frozen. Her heart pounded in her ears, drowning out everything else. No, I can't leave her. Tears streamed down her face, each drop a bitter reminder of loss. The flickering flames danced around her, but all she could feel was the dark chill of dread wrapping tighter around her. Please. Amika shouted, dragging Maya back just as a piece of debris came crashing down nearby, missing them by inches. We're not safe. Devon lay still, and the world shifted into chaos. Shadows crept around them, suffocating and overwhelming. A guttural roar echoed from behind, and Samuel's face loomed, twisted in fury, ready to strike again. But then, just as hope began to dim, the space between them opened wide. Amika pulled Maya away, and suddenly the flames parted. A path emerged, illuminated not by fire but by a shock of icy light piercing through the debris. Maya. A voice called, vibrant and electric. She turned, her breath caught. A figure stepped forward, not fully revealing itself but radiating familiarity. It was a woman, tall with an ethereal grace, an uncanny resemblance to Maya and the twin she just discovered. Who? Maya stammered, the realization slamming into her gut. The woman's eyes sparkled with urgent clarity. Do you remember me? I'm not just your twin, I'm the key to everything. What? Maya whispered, confusion and desperate hope wrestling within her. I'm here to guide you, the woman said, stepping boldly through the chaos. But you've been misled. The mark isn't a curse, it's a connection, a gateway to our true power. The roar of the flames faded and the crowd fell silent, shocked by the unfolding drama. Amika gripped Maya's arm tighter, fear flickering in her eyes. What does she mean, Maya? Before Maya could respond, Samuel burst onto the scene, eyes ablaze with rage. This is all a lie, she's deceiving you, it's a betrayal. Enough, Maya snapped, her voice rising with a newfound strength. I don't want to hear any more lies. But the moment hung heavy, and the chaotic energy crackled, each face reflecting the weight of truths yet unveiled. Then, with a flash like lightning, the woman raised her hands, a pulse of energy vibrating into the air. You need to understand. The truth was always hidden from you to protect you from this family's legacy, but it's time. Time to reclaim what was stolen. Maya's chest tightened with anger and confusion. What was stolen? Just then the woman turned sharply. It's not just your past, it's the future. We're not alone in this fight. You have allies, others waiting to reveal themselves. Amika shook her head, disbelief washing over her features. Allies, this is insanity. We're being hunted. Are we? The woman said softly, her tone shifting. Or are we simply awakening to our true selves? Suddenly, as if summoned by her words, a figure slipped from the shadows, a tall man cloaked in black, his face hidden under a dark hood. You are not the only ones with secrets. Maya's heart raced. Who are you? The man stepped forward, revealing a scar that reached across his cheek. It's time you knew the truth, Maya. You're not just part of a family, you're part of a movement. What movement? Maya's whisper barely escaped her lips, fear curling around each word. But then, with a swift motion, he reached into his coat, pulling out a gleaming object, the same pendant the woman had held moments before. This connects us all, and it's the key to your power. Maya felt the air shift again. The revelation flew through her like a current, sparking a flash of understanding tinged with terror. It binds us, he continued, urgency pouring from him, and if we don't act now it will tear us apart. A thick silence enveloped the group. Something monumental had shifted. The ground underneath had felt stable, but now it teetered dangerously on the brink of truth and deception. Tonight is not just about survival, the man said, intensity igniting the fire in his voice. It's about awakening a force greater than any of us. And suddenly the walls felt like they were closing in. Maya grasped at the edges of reality. What force? The shadows around her pulsed, and Maya realized that everything she thought she knew, everything that had just happened, could become entirely different. Could she really trust herself? Or were they all being pulled into a snare, a trap carefully laid out in the intricate web of her family's secrets she'd never understood? As the world spun on, the rush of flames and cries of chaos melted into the background. All eyes turned toward her, pleading for a decision, a choice that could change everything. And she stood there, heart pounding, teetering at the very edge of what lay ahead. Maya felt the weight of the moment, the world around her spiraling into chaos. Her mother stood there, fierce yet fragile, the fire between them licking at the edges of truth. You were never meant to be alone, the woman said, voice cracking under the strain of long-held secrets. I had to leave to protect you and your sister. The words hung in the air, thick with disbelief. A twin, a legacy. The crowd trembled with suppressed breaths, waiting for something to break. Everything was on the verge of unfolding, and yet a foundational tremor coursed through her. Samuel laughed, his voice biting. Protect you? No, Aduni, you cursed her. Maya flinched. The name felt like ice, slicing through the smoke wrapping around her. What did you do? She shouted, eyes darting between Samuel and her mother. But before anyone could answer, another roar erupted from the chaos, a crack louder than before. A powerful explosion surged to life like a beast freed from its cage. Fire enveloped the alley, flames dancing like manic spirits seizing the air. Maya stumbled back, eyes wide, as debris rained down around them. Run, run. Amika cried, yanking Maya forward as the explosion echoed again, a relentless heartbeat crashing against the night. But Maya was frozen. Her heart pounded in her ears, drowning out everything else. No, I can't leave her. Tears streamed down her face, each drop a bitter reminder of loss. The flickering flames danced around her, but all she could feel was the dark chill of dread wrapping tighter around her. Please, Amika shouted, dragging Maya back just as a piece of debris came crashing down nearby, missing them by inches. We're not safe. Devon lay still, and the world shifted into chaos. Shadows crept around them, suffocating and overwhelming. A guttural roar echoed from behind, and Samuel's face loomed, twisted in fury, ready to strike again. But then, just as hope began to dim, the space between them opened wide. Amika pulled Maya away, and suddenly the flames parted. A path emerged, illuminated not by fire but by a shock of icy light piercing through the debris. Maya, a voice called, vibrant and electric. She turned, her breath caught. A figure stepped forward, not fully revealing itself but radiating familiarity. It was a woman, tall with an ethereal grace, an uncanny resemblance to Maya and the twin she just discovered. Who? Maya stammered, the realization slamming into her gut. The woman's eyes sparkled with urgent clarity. Do you remember me? I'm not just your twin, I'm the key to everything. What? Maya whispered, confusion and desperate hope wrestling within her. I'm here to guide you, the woman said, stepping boldly through the chaos. But you've been misled. The mark isn't a curse, it's a connection, a gateway to our true power. The roar of the flames faded, and the crowd fell silent, shocked by the unfolding drama. Amika gripped Maya's arm tighter, fear flickering in her eyes. What does she mean, Maya? Before Maya could respond, Samuel burst onto the scene, his eyes ablaze with rage. This is all a lie, she's deceiving you, it's a betrayal. Enough. Maya snapped, her voice rising with a newfound strength. I don't want to hear any more lies. But the moment hung heavy, and the chaotic energy crackled, each face reflecting the weight of truths yet unveiled. Then, with a flash like lightning, the woman raised her hands, a pulse of energy vibrating into the air. You need to understand. The truth was always hidden from you to protect you from this family's legacy, but it's time. Time to reclaim what was stolen. Maya felt the air shift again. The revelation flew through her like a current, sparking a flash of understanding tinged with terror. It binds us, he continued, urgency pouring from him, and if we don't act now, it will tear us apart. Suddenly, the shadows around them pulsed, shifting into something darker, more ominous. Maya's breath caught as she realized the figure of her twin was changing, flickering like a bad signal. The air thickened with unease, and Maya's heart pounded louder. Something is wrong, Amika gasped. Maya turned to see Samuel's smirk grow wider, an unsettling satisfaction crawling onto his face. Maya, do you really think they're here to help? Look closer, Samuel's voice sliced through the tension, sharp as glass. With a shuddering breath, Maya locked eyes with her twin just as the air exploded into chaos. An intense flash illuminated the alley, blinding her for a heartbeat. When her vision cleared, it was not the twin she recognized standing before her. There was an entirely different face. A twisted smile, familiar yet foreign, gazed back at her. I'm not just your sister, the figure declared, voice dripping with an unsettling sweetness. I'm the one who made everything happen. All of this is my design. Maya's world teetered. What? I wanted you to suffer, to feel the burn. Because you see, darling, I'm not Aduni's daughter. I'm the true heir to this legacy, a legacy you've always stood in the way of. The breath left Maya's lungs, her heart plummeting into a void of shock. The truth tangled in obscurity, leaving only confusion spinning in her mind. No, Amika whispered, disbelief coloring her tone. But the realization struck like thunder. Suddenly everything shifted. The relationships, the loyalties, everything she believed was turned on its head, the ground beneath crumbling. Aduni knew. She couldn't protect you from me, the figure said, eyes gleaming with malice. And now we'll see who really holds the power. As chaos roared around them, Maya stood on the brink of devastation, her entire life rewritten in an instant. Would she be able to face this new truth, or would it consume her? Everything she thought she knew faded into darkness, leaving behind only uncertainty and a desperate need to run or fight. Maya felt the ground shift again, her sister's words sinking like stones in her chest. I'm the true heir to this legacy, a legacy you've always stood in the way of. The revelation clawed at her, a truth twisted like the smoke wrapping around them. People around her seemed to hold their breath. The surrealness was gathering like a powerful storm. Enough. She shouted, desperation spilling from her voice. You're lying, you can't be who you say you are. The crowd was frozen in a tense silence. Her heart raced, each beat echoing in the thick air. Shadows danced ominously and the atmosphere crackled with unsaid truths. But just then, a loud roar split the heavy silence. The ground rumbled ominously beneath them, sending a shockwave through the crowd. The flames flickered violently, casting twisted shadows like monstrous figures ready to pounce. It felt as if the very earth was coming alive, angry and furious. Maya didn't have time to think. Amika tugged on her arm, urging her to move. "Come on, we can't stay." But when she turned back, everything changed. The figure, the woman who claimed to be her sister, was collapsing, but not from the chaos. Her skin rippled, shimmering like a mirage under the waves of heat. "Maya," the woman gasped. And then, before anyone could react, her entire body exploded into brilliant light, bursting like a supernova. Blinding flashes erupted, filling the alley with an intense glow, igniting everything around them. Maya raised an arm instinctively to shield her eyes as the radiant light consumed the space. Then it crashed down, the light bursting into darkness, revealing chaos. Where before stood the woman now, a familiar figure materialized from the shadows. "Aduni," Maya whispered, eyes widening in disbelief. Her mother stood there, somehow alive, the flames swirling around her like a protective barrier. She looked at Maya, desperation etched into every feature. "You made a choice, your true legacy is awakening. You need to listen to me, Maya." Amika shouted again, pulling her back, fear pinching her voice. "This can't be right, we need to go." But Maya was anchored in place, watching her mother, her heart beating wildly. Everything spun, fraying at the edges. That truth, was like a roaring wave getting closer, threatening to crash down on her. Then once again, Samuel stepped forward, a twisted smile creeped across his face. "I knew this would happen. You see, Maya, they've kept the truth from you for too long. Your mother is the heart of the curse, but she's not the true danger." "What do you mean?" Maya yelled, her thoughts spiraling. "The power she holds, it can destroy everything. Aduni was never here to protect you. She is the embodiment of everything you fear." His voice echoed in the alley, wrapping around them like a chain. But in that moment, a wave of energy surged through Maya as the crowd began to murmur, their fear palpable. The air crackled with electric tension, and then a single voice cut through. "Enough!" An older man stepped forward, worn, ragged, but confidently resolute. "You are all blind. The legacy is not in blood, it lies in intent. And you," he pointed at Maya and her mother, "you have the power to rewrite it." Maya's breath caught. She turned to her mother, confusion swirling inside her. "What does he mean?" Aduni's eyes softened for an instant as if a memory flickered to life. "It's the choice we make that shapes our destiny. We can choose love over hate." Before anyone could respond, a blinding light erupted from the older man's hand. It enveloped them all, and the ground beneath began to tremble once more. But then, with a pulse that felt infinite, shadows broke free of their bonds, twisting together, forming one colossal figure, looming larger than life itself. It was a tempest of darkness, eyes filled with fury. "What have you done?" The figure growled, fangs bared. "You think you can escape the nature of your blood?" Maya stood paralyzed, heart racing. Everything she believed was crashing down. The legacy, the curse, her family. What was real? Who could she trust? The world spun wildly, energies clashing in the night. Shadows coiling tight, and the true nature of her mother's secrets, her sister's betrayal, and Samuel's lies all converged into one chaotic storm. "What if the truth is worse than the curse?" she murmured, the question lingering. And in that moment of uncertainty, she felt a choice ripple through her, a chance to fight back against the storm or be consumed by it. Maya's heart raced, each pulse echoing with the weight of the moment. The shadows loomed, the fiery figure of her mother radiated desperation, and Samuel's twisted grin ignited a spark of fear deep within her. "I won't let you consume me," she shouted, voice trembling but determined. "Foolish girl," Samuel sneered, stepping closer, his hands crackling with dark energy. "You're already part of this legacy, there's no escape." "No." Maya felt a fire ignite within her, flickers of strength taking root. She reached for her mother, a connection sparking. "Mom, I need you." Aduni's eyes widened, shimmering with a fierce light. "Together, Maya, we can face him." Maya nodded, their hands clasping together, warmth flooding her veins. In that moment she felt everything she loved. The memories of pain, joy, and sorrow crashed together like waves on jagged rocks. Power surged, wrapping around them like a protective barrier. A loud roar erupted from the dark figure, energy sparking and thrumming, feeding off the mounting tension. "Stop this!" The figure bellowed, shadows twisting, but they were no match for the bond Maya and her mother shared. "Channel your anger," Aduni urged, strength shining through the chaos, echoes of their past swirling around them. "Let it guide you." As screaming flames leapt closer, Maya took a deep breath, her heart pounding like a war drum. She focused on the mark on her shoulder, the crescent moon that tied her to generations of power and pain. Enough, she shouted, her voice rising above the chaos, embers flying from her fingertips. The shadows recoiled, revealing glimpses of people in the crowd, gaping with disbelief. Her fight wasn't just for her. It was for everyone wrapped in the curse's chains. Samuel staggered, a look of uncertainty flickering across his face. "What is this? You cannot defy me." But Maya felt the energy coil, a heartbeat synchronized with her own. "I choose to defy this legacy. I choose to break free." In an explosion of light, a wave hit Samuel, pushing him back. The shadows clashed and twisted, trying to resist, but their power began to shatter. The souls trapped in darkness surged toward the surface, light breaking through their pain. Maya glanced at her mother, a tear slipping down her cheek. "I'm not afraid anymore." "Then let's end this," Aduni whispered, her voice steady as they confronted Samuel together. The dark figure screeched, light bursting across the alley, illuminating everything with an otherworldly glow. Then, with a deafening crack, the shadows imploded, giving way to a blinding brightness that washed over both of them. Moments passed in wild silence as the light engulfed the chaos. Then, with a rush, everything collapsed into darkness, leaving Maya breathless on the city street, wind howling, smoke curling away. Maya blinked, her pulse slowing. The streets were cleared, and there was no sign of Samuel, just the echoes of his threats swirling in the air. "Maya," Amika rushed toward her, eyes wide with relief. "You did it, you really did it." But Maya looked around, remembrance filling her voice. "Devon, what happened to him?" Amika's face fell. "He didn't make it." A sharp pang shot through Maya's chest, tearing at her heart. I could have saved him." Tears spilled as the weight of loss washed over her. Aduni stepped closer, wrapping an arm around Maya. "You fought with everything you had, you broke the curse. His sacrifice isn't in vain." But the world felt heavy. Shadows still lurked, remnants of a life intertwined with danger and pain, but there was also hope flickering like a candle in the dark. Maya gazed at her mother, the bond forged in this moment linking them forever. The past would always be part of her, but it didn't have to define her future. Together they would rebuild, embracing the light. "Maya," Amika took a deep breath, determination in her eyes. "We're still standing. We'll find the truth. We'll face whatever comes next." Maya nodded, wiping her tears. "Together." And as they walked away, the dawn broke over the horizon, illuminating a new path ahead. But deep in the shadows, a whisper stirred, a voice swearing revenge, a new threat lurking, waiting to emerge now. Before you go, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep us alive. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this ending. And don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel with these actions.